people, yes, I'm back again. I have been playing non-stop today. It's a hidden note. That's what we found out last episode.
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his pants?
Yes, his pants.
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
I found a hole. Maybe we can use it to escape. Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the equipment room at 6 a.m.
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Huh? Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
See, then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro.
That they did.
And that person could only have been...
Hifumi's pants? Taka. Wait. I don't know, is it Taka?
I got it! That's right! Taka! The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection! I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Ugh! Yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Man, Genocide Jack is seriously scary, but still, I can't let her get to me. Make your argument. Uh-oh. I'm scared I'm gonna get this wrong.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
The time on the note said 6 a.m. What happened at 6 a.m.?
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for
Ah,
must have been Huffy!
But remember what the
Huffy?
6 a.m.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
No, that's wrong.
break.
No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Indeed.
Well, when you put it like that... No further objections!
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster, telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it?
Trying to hide it.
Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely. Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Huh? He stole it?
He was trying to prove himself innocent.
Where's your proof?
Or
Go ahead, show us.
what? Proof that Hifumi stole the note from Taka was the little piece of paper stuck in his...
I got it!
You got it!
When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Indeed they are.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There is only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa, yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive!
Sorry, no. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead. The second body discovery announcement proves that.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together.
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Who are you calling a walrus?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all.
Yeah.
But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
That's so sad.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though.
I
The
know.
Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue. So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then...
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
The weapon that was actually used to kill Hifumi. The whole picture surrounding this case won't become clear until we figure that out. Somehow I have to find the truth. The clean hammer.
What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it maybe Justice Hammer 4?
Well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammers. And, that's about it.
I think it has to be the Justice Hammer. Hifumi was killed in the repository, right? So if there was actually similar.
What was used to kill? Was it maybe Justice?
Well, but there's one. How was the culprit? How did nobody...
Sounds like a Justice Hammer! Check out murdergear.com!
Well, the murder weapon had to be one of the Justice...
No, that's wrong.
The murder weapon wasn't a Justice Hammer at all.
It was not.
But,
Oh.
seriously? A different weapon?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. And for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean. And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder.
Indeed.
If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
Yes.
Whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him. Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working
Girl,
together
just
with
admit you did it.
The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
We did talk about how there wouldn't be a reason for anyone to work together. At least that's what we thought at first, but I don't know.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in them, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Can we really say there's no chance two people work together on this?
Based on the rules that even if more than one, only the one who actually carried, assuming the rule holds true, it is.
That is.
But that only really
In this case, however, there were two murders.
Okay, I'm gonna try this, and it might be
Based on the
wrong.
rules that even if more than one, only the one who actually, assuming the rule holds true.
Oh, no, that's wrong. No, that's wrong.
Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
Indeed.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime, and based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look.
So Hifumi
A
killed
single
Taka.
suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so cruel?
You think
I know.
so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
The effort made to convince us the two murders were the same. That was the main characteristic this time. Kyoko must have noticed that fact from the very beginning, which is why she said to not look at this as a series of connected events, but entirely separate incidents. Kyoko really is amazing, although, when you think about it, she's almost too amazing. Like, it's almost unnatural how good she is at this. Well,
I understand
she's probably
how
the
an
ultimate
accomplice
detective,
could be
I'm betting.
But then, who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now.
The true killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions, and in the end murdered him. In the debates up until now, the way the case has unfolded, when you consider all that, there's really only one person who seems to fit. It's you, Miss Perfect.
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
So I'm the suspicious individual now, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
Why did it do
What
that?
I'm saying then is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit
brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot!
Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
What is it that only Hifumi and Celeste had in common? The paper, the screaming. But I don't.
Shoot!
Had in common encountering the suspicious individual.
I got it! The behavior they had in common.
Well, I
has
thought
to
maybe
do
the
with
screaming was the
suspicious
sign.
individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
I saw a shadow, something moving around at the top of the stairs.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what?
Oh my gosh, if I have to see this one more time! I saw him, the strange costumed man. He ran off as soon as I screamed. I was blocking the stairs, so he headed further down into the hallway and disappeared.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
Huh? What was that? That came from downstairs. It must have been. Hifumi, he's in the nurse's office. This is bad. Come on, we have to go back.
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Uh-oh. Then why don't we split into two groups? I'll lead the hunting party. That seems much more interesting. Very well then, Makoto and Hina, you come with me to the nurse's office. I will leave the capture of the suspicious individual to Toko, Daddy Longlegs, and Sakura. Sakura.
If Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected.
Yes, smart Daddy Longlegs.
And on top of that piercing cry of yours early on.
Please, no.
That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him we are on the third floor. And why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead.
I certainly was not expecting this. I did not imagine that Hifumi would be murdered.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our mind.
I don't believe it. Everything. The whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kind of sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them
This is
together
bad.
and the picture gets... Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
What was it? They must really be enjoying the sight of us standing around frightened and confused. We're all going to die here. We're going to die just like those guys died.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's
We didn't
so
know the other
strange
person
about
was
it.
dead.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the four of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead.
Uh-oh,
Think about
Spaghetti-O.
it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
You're trying,
You hear
buddy.
that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Byakuya said that Celeste's comment doesn't make any sense, but what is he alluding to? I know her... He couldn't know. Ew.
All I said was they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened, and they must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't what was so strange about Celeste's comment?
What she said, she could have only known about Yumi's death. With that in mind, what's so strange about what she said
All I
is...
said was they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are going to die, just like. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to what was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Uh-oh. That's embarrassing. Don't expect me to do the work for you. So strange as those guys. Hold on. So, I just got it backwards. I've got to go get his comment. His comment.
We are going to die, and that is all.
And that's all it takes to what was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Okay, sorry. Sorry, Daddy Longlegs. Didn't mean to screw up.
All I said, they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be positive. We are all going to die. We are going to die, just like those.
No,
What's wrong? That's wrong.
that's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall.
Uh-oh.
So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations.
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took?
Why does this picture so
How do you
important?
explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
You literally staged it.
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on. And then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one
They're
you've
just taking a
offered up.
picture.
No, there is no other explanation.
Other explanations. If it wasn't a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away, the only other possibility is Hifumi and the suspect. I don't know. They'd been drinking.
Shoot!
Ah. It was. I don't know. Yes. Is this some kind of bad joke?
Shoot!
Oh, this is so bad. The only other... I don't know! Sorry, that was so bad, I don't know.
A picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility.
Sorry.
The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Period,
Then
queen.
shut your mouth
Oh.
and allow me to educate you.
Celeste thinks she can prove there's no other way. But is that really possible? Please, no! I can't lose this again!
You dressed me up in that...
Oh no. You dressed me up in that suit after I passed
Then
it.
you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight. You tried to make me look like the bad guy.
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit after all.
Hold on. What's his message? No. It's the costume. She said she couldn't bend at the waist. Okay, hold on.
You dressed me up in that. Then you just previous you tried to make me look like.
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, the suspect is if the person inside the suit was unconscious. There's no way they could stand up straight.
No, you're wrong!
No, it's wrong.
No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that.
Yeah, they could.
Because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
You totally can't bend at the waist. Yeah, we know. You can't bend at the waist.
That's right. They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Oh, Lord.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Don't make me laugh, you idiot. What do you mean, checkmate?
Celeste?
Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem.
Have you already forgotten?
I'm so sorry. Have you already forgotten that Hifumi told us as he lay dying? Hey Hifumi, who was it? Who attacked you? Who tried to kill you? Who killed me? That's right, I remember their name. Yasuhiro.
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not? He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro.
In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Right, but my name isn't really Yasuhiro. It's actually Taro.
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
I got it!
Yeah, okay.
That's right! Our last names! He called us all by our last names!
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name. Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No. There's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal, but he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to, and that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
What did you just say? To think you take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit.
Her English.
Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather. Yasuhiro is a loser's name. Do I look like a loser to you? Well, do I? What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
Celeste still won't give up, so then I have to do something to make her accept it. I don't know. I don't know what to say. The e-handbook?
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real
It has to be
name
e-handbook.
is.
how many times do I have to tell you? My name is Celestia Ludenberg! God damn it!
Oh my lord, that's the
How
TikTok
long do you
audio.
plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me,
No,
the only truth there is! Moron!
no, we can look at her e-handbook. Oh, I remember. Yeah. Let's look at her e-handbook.
Hifumi was he wanted us to
Celestia Ludenberg! I can't.
You, Celeste.
How many times? Celestia Ludenberg! God damn it!
It's such a good line.
How long do you plan to go on?
I'm not pretending, and since you have no way
No, that's wrong.
That's it.
The handbook.
What?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.
This handbook is absolutely vital to a healthy school life, so don't lose it. If you want to see how this trial goes to an end, make sure you stick around for the next episode.